Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Artificial DM. Today we're going to be taking a look at r/RPG horror stories. I've got 3 stories picked out for today. They're all kind of short, and that's why I'm putting them all in one video. So be sure to stick around till the end to hear all 3 of them. This first story is from the user, It's Got to Make Sense. The session where we played ourselves transported into a D&D game went pretty poorly. This isn't nearly as horrible as some of the other stories. It was just really awkward and frustrating due to the way it was run. My regular gaming group decided to have a session where we played our real-life selves, but transported into a fantasy world quantum leap style. Each of us had to choose ability scores, freely, to represent what we thought was the most accurate, as well as assigning skill points, 3.5 edition, based on real-life skills. Then the DM would randomly assign a character class to each of us, so we'd end up as a kind of fish out of water, not necessarily the most well prepared for our new roles. In theory, it sounded like a lot of fun, in a what-if sense. In practice, it was an exercise in railroading and judgment. Here's where it went wrong. After choosing ability scores and skill points, each player had to defend their choices in a group discussion. One by one, we read our ability scores to allow the group to pass judgment on them. A few snippets of that conversation from this group. The Marine told the chef, "You're out of shape as Floop. Your constitution can't be higher than a 9. No way!" The something awful goon told the Marine,
"No, dude. No flooping way you have 14 charisma. You back down every time there's a conflict."
Just so you know, the Marine backed down from this conflict. One guy told another guy,
16 intelligence? No way. You're like a 12 at most. But your wisdom should be higher because you're street smart.
You get the idea. I ended up choosing pretty modest scores based on what I figured they all thought of me. Low physical stats, with high intelligence, and okay wisdom. I escaped with little comment, but I know for a fact there were some very bruised egos that night. So then we finally got assigned our classes. I ended up drawing Paladin, back when they were held to a higher than lawful good standard. The Marine, who normally played Paladin exclusively and had a personal love of Arthurian legends, took umbrage. He was visibly upset about this. Fast forward through some filler, our group gets over the shock of waking up in D&D hero bodies, and makes it through some minor rando encounters. Some villagers tell us about a great dragon that's been attacking them and stealing livestock, demanding virgin sacrifices and so on. Finally, we're at the entrance of the dragon's cave. I speak to the rogue, played by the goon. "Rogue, you should sneak in and scope it out." The DM interrupts me. "You have a kind of tingly sense that is sort of familiar to you." I change my tone and instead go with, "Okay, never mind. I think I can remember this place." The DM interrupts again. "No, it's more like, you know this is your thing." The Marine, who wishes he was a paladin, scoffs. I hear him mutter something under his breath that seems to imply I don't know how to play a paladin. Getting frustrated, I ignore him and respond to the DM.
"Alright. I'm in charge, Rogue, and I'm going to take the lead and..." The DM interrupts again.
"No, not like that. It's like you understand what's going on here and..." This time I interrupt.
"DM, just tell me what you want my character to say. What does he say?"
Apparently my character was supposed to say, "Guys, I know we've only been in this world a short time, but my character's memories are coming back. Being a paladin, handling dragons is my specialty. I'll go in first since I'm the most familiar with this task." Finally, the DM is satisfied. We enter the cave and realize the dragon is far too powerful for us to handle. The DM gives me the next bit of advice, which I'm taking to be a script at this point. "You recall another fragment of your character's memory. Paladins are an ancient order of dragon handlers, not slayers. They keep the dragons in check by bargaining with them." I sigh. "Okay, group, I'm going to go bargain with the dragon." The DM sets the scene. "The dragon glares at you and demands to know why a mortal would dare to tread in its lair." Okay, I raise my sword, threaten to kill the dragon, hoping to intimidate it. The Marine chuckles. The DM corrects me. "The dragon isn't fooled, but you remember your holy symbol. It burns warmly at your chest." I briefly contemplate joining a theater troupe instead, and then begrudgingly go along with the plot. I hold up my holy symbol. Dragon, I banish you to leave this village alone.
Very well, mortal. I shall sleep and leave them in peace for 100 years.
We sort of triumphantly return to the village.
You're alive! Have you slain the dragon?
We've ensured your safety. The dragon will leave you alone. For 100 years. The DM describes the visible disappointment on the villagers' faces. The Marine facepalms. Dude, just because you're a paladin doesn't mean you have to tell them everything. Bullcrap! I'm lawful good, honor matters, and I'm not going to lie to them. It's not lying. You know what? You just don't know how to play a paladin. Floop off! I am playing a paladin, and this is how I play with it. Deal with it. True to form, he backed down from the conflict. The problem in this scenario is mainly the DM had a narrative he wanted to play out, and instead of the players being allowed to play out their characters, it's more along the lines he had his players hop into costumes and then he handled the dolls. It's just very awkward. This story is from the user Ursus Mimas, finally quitting on a Nat One. This is a story that is half my fault, I feel. I joined a game a few years back and met some players. When I decided to run a second game, big mistake, I invited players from my other games first and then searched for more. The player in question was Anime Edgelord, since those are the only character traits I remember. I ran this game in which the players unknowingly unleashed an ancient evil, and were given the ability to kill this evil. Early on, they were in a random village. The Lich King of this world attacked this village by chance. He realized the group had the ability to save the world, so he said he would let them go. This was supposed to be how they discovered they had this ability. This was my first mistake. Everyone decided it was better to leave than to try to fight this guy at first level. Anime Edgelord decided to bully the Lich and demand he take his hat. I felt it would be bad to kill this character during session 2. I honestly did a bad job of handling this, and would just call his bluff to kill or debilitate the character now. After spending far too long trying to convince Edgelord to go, I ended up having the Lich give in and hand him the hat. When they exited the town, the group figured out that it had just been an illusion of a hat. That session or the next, the group got into a combat. Nothing special until the Edgelord rolls a natural 1. At this time I had been using hero points. Everyone has a few rerolls a session. The only stipulation was that you could not use them on a natural 1. While this was a new campaign, this wasn't the first time I had said this. The campaign we were both a part of used the same rule. It was written in the campaign guide. I believe it had happened to another player in the first few sessions even. Even the other players told him that this was a well-established rule. It seems the Edgelord didn't like this since he had used a big spell and it failed. He proceeded to leave the voice call without a word, and we never heard from him again. Our next story is from the user Frog Prince KT. Creepy DM tries to make my character a sex slave, then has her raped by a demon. So when I was around 13, I got into a weird homebrew futuristic cyberpunk D&D Discord server full of mostly total strangers and a few of my older friends. The way it worked was that we would have the usual questing, but also open roleplay all other times to encourage character building. I was really into the roleplaying, developing my character constantly. However, the people in the server turned out to be prone to arguments, and it was an overall chaotic environment. The DM was a weird guy who controlled people's characters without asking, and was always putting them in weird sexual situations. I specifically asked not to be involved in these, because they made me uncomfortable. Mostly I avoided it by making my character a minor and male. This changed when I brought in a new character, a 19-year-old female who all call Q. So for one of the conflicts our characters faced, a demon, controlled by DM, kidnaps the little boy, and we have to rescue him. Pretty standard stuff. Then things got weird. The demon claimed that he would give the boy back if Q became his sex slave. I said I wouldn't go through with it, and that it made me uncomfortable. And well, the DM didn't like that. After the session, in the free roleplay time, the DM's lovely demon lad possessed the body of an 11-year-old boy from a nearby town, and while I was offline, went into unfortunate detail in the chat of how he sexually assaulted Q, while still in the body of an 11-year-old boy, mind you, then left her branded and pregnant for me to find in the server the next day. I was obviously upset, and this exchange took place over instant messages.
I didn't agree for my character to get pregnant. This is gross. You think it's gross because you're gay, right?
No, I had never mentioned my gender or sexuality on the server.
No, but I don't want my character to be pregnant. Well, she is now, and she has to have his baby.
Not sure what else to do? I made Q jump off a building to her death and left the server for good. I later discovered the DM was around 17 or 18 during this time and was fully aware of my age. TLDR, DM makes a demon possess the body of a child and raped my character while I was gone. I can't even imagine how the DM rationalized that it was okay to do so to this character because the character's 19, even though the player is a minor? That's one big red flag right there. But on top of that, OP did say that they don't want any of their characters to be involved in the weird, kinky roleplay scenarios. I could go on about a million other reasons on why this whole scenario is flooped up, but you know, that's what I want all of you guys to do. So go ahead and leave me a comment below about your own thoughts on this DM and what he did in the Discord server. If you want to hear more stories just like this, don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, hope you feel inspired.